Hi Vetri Maaran sir, welcome to our interview. Brilliant movie, very hard hitting, very brutal, very powerful. I just want to ask you, obviously it's based on this book written by somebody who went through the experiences. I just want to ask you why you picked up the topic.
I don't think that's the right question to ask. It's one of the most important things worldwide that needs to be addressed. And when I read the book, I thought it had everything to be made into a film. Not just the issue, not just the concern. It has the intrigue and it has the drama to be written as a script. So that was the most important thing that made me do the film. So I just can't have an issue which will not convert into a film. So I need to have a material that has the issue, that speaks the issue and has the material to be converted into a film.
It's very violent, obviously, because of the subject matter. And could you talk a bit about how you handled that violence on the sets, in terms of how you created that environment, how you worked with the actors, and how you controlled them when maybe they went a little too far?
See, in the first place, I was not working or doing anything, but the only thing I ensured was I gave the actors dummy batons. Like it was just not real, but it would hurt. So I just gave them the dummies and let them be there, and the boys were really beat up, and sometimes it really went overboard, and he got like seriously hurt. And after that we started giving we didn't have that the safe word. We didn't have the safe word until he got hit. After that we came up with the safe word. Again, that was also not working because everybody was screaming at the top of their voices, and how much ever you try to speak out, when they're screaming, scream goes beyond words. So you can't hear words when people are screaming. So they were really hurt, and Dinesh had his skin split open while he was beat with the palm thatch. It was like, and the actor was beating him. After every shot, used to go hug him and cry because the guilt of hurting a person was unbearable for him. The film as such was a very, very, very troubling journey for everybody. And what kept us all going doing a film like this was just to pretend and act as if we are caught up in a situation that is so hurting and so disturbing. What would be the state of mind of people who are really caught in a situation worldwide?
And a lot of these actors in the film are non-actors, like they are not professional actors.
Yes. They are actors, beginners, and very few are non-actors. They are actors with caliber who hasn't got the exposure.
And also you spoke about the writing process and how the second half was more or less slightly open. So could you just talk about it a bit in terms of how you went about it, and like you've not written the whole film, and how it would be on the sets when you would go and
see. I was sure of my shots. To start with, I didn't have a second half because I didn't know where it was going. See, I knew.
And you had already started shooting.
Yeah. See, I knew the climax. I know what's going to happen to these boys. I knew one of them are going to be left out, and I knew that I am going to make that person Chandra Kumar. I knew all those things. But while shooting, or when we started the shoot, we first finished the first half of the film. When I saw the film, my first edit was 95 minutes, the first half, which is now 55 minutes on screen. No, 52 minutes on screen. It was 95 minutes plus 15 minutes kept aside. So the first half alone was a complete film. So when I saw the film, I thought that needed more. Just either going out of this court or being sent to the jail, I thought was not complete. It needed, I thought there is more to tell in this story. Then I came up with the second part of the film, and we started writing. it, and we had various versions and various take on the second part of the film. So I initially wanted to introduce Muthuvel, the inspector, in the court. He was not in the beginning. Now we see him in couple of places before the court. So he was supposed to be introduced as a surprise at the intermission. That was my initial idea. But when we tried that, it was too sudden. Already the film was going to go to totally a new place, with everything new happening, where the protagonists are sidelined. So I thought it's better to introduce them.
But you already had that in mind, that the protagonists are going to be sidelined?
Yes.
Or because you were kind of stuck with where to take it, you kind of brought in another element?
It was not that. See, I knew that the second half, I knew 3 points of the second half. One is the boys are going to be killed, and one man would be brought in and he would be killed, and they would stand witness for that. Then what happens to them made the whole thing. I knew this, and how it is going to reach there was my issue, and we were working on that. Like, we were shooting and writing, and we were editing and writing. We were constantly working on that.
And it's also interesting that the first half is about these poor kids who kind of get caught. The second half is about this rich guy, right? Who is also a victim. Like, who is, and so my take was that it is essentially that everybody is nobody in front of the system.
The most important thing is, like, it's a good observation that you made, because everything repeats itself. The first half,
exactly the same.
How people who don't have anything are being treated by the cops. Second part, you see how people who have are being treated by the cops. But when the system is threatened, it is a nobody or a big shot. Everybody are the same. Right. Everybody are the same. The system will silence them, and the system will eliminate an anomaly in itself. If you are not in harmony with the system and the policies of the system, you will be eliminated. So that was one major thing. See, everything happens twice in the film. The boys are arrested, the man is arrested.
Right.
And here, the first part, you see the boys going and enacting a scene in which they are not at all involved.
Right.
And the second part, you see the cops going and enacting a suicide.
Right.
So these are things that repeated itself. Everything had repeated in the film.
Right.
So that was one thing that happened. Unconsciously it happened. And while editing, we realized that it is repeating itself.
Right. It's also very interesting that Dhanush has produced it, and we've already spoken a bit about it. Could you talk about how he came on board, which I think probably end up repeating yourself, but if you could.
See, I was shooting a film with Dhanush, and he had to finish Balki's film. So there was a four-month gap. Then I said, let me not sit idle. After so many years, I've come to shoot a film, and I don't want to stay idle. So I'll start shooting a small film, like small film in terms of time, number of days, and locale and budget, everything. We started. When I zeroed down on the content, I told Dhanush, this film is going to be about 4 boys. With that, he stopped me and said, "Sir, don't tell me the content. If I like it, I'll want to be part of it. You finish the film, you show me the film." Like 2-3 weeks back, he saw the film. Until then, he did not interfere or ask me anything about the film.
Could you kind of talk about how it was on the sets and how it felt to be beaten up as brutally as it has been shown?
I am not a trained actor, but in the set, our director lets us be the character that he wants us to be, but the police characters also turn into the characters that he wants us to be, so the brutality is just there. So we just got used to it after like 3 to 4 days. There were times that we used to get beaten up, and later after that Dinesh and Murugan used to laugh and bring out their pain and
just to get it out of the system.
Get it out of the system, and they get ready for the next shot.
Right.
We pretty good.
Hopefully none of these cars in the film are real.
Some are real.
Some are real. And obviously, it's a very powerful, hard-hitting film. Clearly, the audience here has got it. I'm assuming and hoping that it releases very soon in across India. Frankly, when is that going to happen?
We are sending the film to censors very soon, and we are planning for a release before, like by December. We are planning a December release for this film.
And the film went to Venice. What was the reaction there?
It is, see, everywhere in the world, human beings are, at least the common man is a very kind person. We want to help whomever is in need. So this film deals with that and deals with victims. So the only thing is, like, I saw people here crying. It was less there. Our people are not shy to cry, I think.
Or maybe they sees. In fact, it's very close to reality also.
For them, it was like, in Venice, people came and asked me, is this happening in India even today?
We know that it is happening.
Now, in India, they know that it's happening even today.
Right.
So they know it's happening even today.
And we kind of, at least the people who are sitting in multiplexes kind of, tend to ignore and tend to get it out of our systems. But it's there.
Yeah, when you realize that the scariest part about this is, it could happen to you, it could happen to me, it could happen to him, it could happen to any of us.
Anyone. Which I think the second half was clearly like, first half, it's like people who are unheard and don't have a voice in the system. But the second half, this person is a very integral core part of the system, and he is also almost
no one is immune to this.
No one is immune to this. Awesome. And you, I think the final question, obviously you spoke about your inspirations, you spoke about Inaritu. I think in some other context you've spoken about Kurosawa. If you could just talk about, your filmmaking influences. And
when I started watching world cinema, when world cinema was introduced to me, I took a liking to Kurosawa more than anybody else, because we all grew up watching mainstream films, and I really can't connect myself with a really serious film. Kurosawa is a person who made film for his viewers. Like, he had a very clear, distinct differentiation for all his films. Like, he knew, okay, this film I'm making for my mainstream audience. I will do it this way. And Kurosawa, what I liked was, I think Spielberg had once mentioned that Kurosawa is the visual Shakespeare, like, screen Shakespeare, because he deals with a lot of grey. I like characters with grey, like, say for instance,
Right.
So the grey in him, like, a lot of people identify with him more than Pandi or Murugan or the boys.
Because his conflict is like something that probably we relate with.
That's a very universal conflict. Right. He is us.
Right.
So that is the kind of characters. Like, even in my Aadukalam, the mentor, the Petakaran, that character is more grey.
Right.
He's not good or bad. Like, he's a very good man, but one particular part of him is very dark.
Right.
So that is what interested me, and Kurosawa is full of that.
Right.
So, Dostoevsky, Kurosawa, these are the guys that really excite me. And Inaritu, ever since he made Amorous Perros, he's been he's my reference point. So he made Amorous Perros with dogfight. I saw the film and I thought, like, when he makes a film on dogfights that's there in his country, why not I make a film on rooster fight that's there in my country?
Right.
That's how I started making art. And every film of his has been an inspiration.
Right. Obviously, there is a lot happening in Tamil cinema with people like Karthik and people like Nalan, and I know actors now, coming from a different school, and like a fresh kind of breath of air. Also, films like Kaka Mutai. I think there is a lot of intermingling with the mainstream guys working with these new guys, and the mainstream guys also producing films. So could you just talk about that a bit in terms of the changes happening in Tamil cinema outside of the typical mainstream masala stuff?
Of late, the films that have earned more money in Tamil, of course we'll have to leave out the major hits like Bahubali working all over the world. That we'll have to keep aside. And then Kanchana was there. So it worked, it worked great in Tamil and Telugu. We'll have to keep that aside. Apart from that, you take films that have worked, they are not the conventional mainstream films. Be it Kaka Muttai or Sudukavu. Any of these films, or Jigardanda for that matter. See, these are not very conventional mainstream films, though they have all mainstream values. See, I would say Visaaranai is a perfect mainstream film. But nobody in the mainstream trade will take that film as a mainstream film because it doesn't ensure them their regular, used, like worn out formula or the structure within which it works. So that way, these are the films that are making money, which clearly states that the viewers in Tamil are open to new things and new. Only thing is, you just need to give it to them in such a way that they don't turn it down. Because sometimes what happens is a good content in a bad hand, like bad in the sense who can't technically handle that content, or someone who's technically excellent with a weak content. They join together, like a weak content with technically sound person or a good content with a technically weak person. They come up with a product that might not be up to their own expectations. When that is taken to the mainstream viewers, they reject it. Then people end up saying no, like audiences are not taking different films or offbeat films. Only thing is, you make a good film with a good content, and nowadays it's got to do something with your marketing also. You need to market your films, and you can't cheat your viewers now. Earlier, you just have to show the hero's face, the heroine's face, and then they will come to watch the film. Now, you'll have to be open about your films. You can't try to cheat them. See, this is the film that I have. If you wish, you can come and watch it. That's the approach that is working now, I think.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much for the wonderful movie and taking time out and chatting with us. Thanks so much. Thanks.
Thank you.